Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of November 4th through the 8th. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap from October 28th through November 1st, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is Intel. Congratulations if you've made some money off of this ticker. We ended the week at $23.20, up 7.81%. This is where we ended. To the north side takes us to resistance and a potential take profit area at 2 standard deviations, 2360. Above that, at this line right here, 2416. And at 4 standard deviations and another level of resistance, 2471. To the south side, the middle of the trend takes us to roughly 2248. Below that, at -2 standard deviations in the red line, 2138, 2082, and at -4 standard deviations and another level of support and a potential buy-in area, $20.26. The lines can also be your stop loss lines as well if you are trying to stop out of a trade in case it goes down even more. So this is your buy, your sell, your potential buy zones. It depends on how you like to trade, but that's what I like to do. And looking left, there's a gap here that was created. We gapped up, so I will anticipate a gap to the south side. And that will take us to 2164. Change that to red. And you can see we hit support near this line here and we saw a bounce up. Right now we are at the upper channel of VWAP. VWAP is in the blue and that is 2297. And I like to mark out the middle of the trend for this week. This is where we are. I'll change that to yellow. This is a previous middle of the week. Previous middle of the week, middle of the week, middle of the week. And also this turns into resistance for me as I go up. But because this is starting to look messy, what I'm going to do is I will delete this so it doesn't confuse you, just to clean up the chart. And my target will be here, 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 these 2 lines, and this line as resistance. And you can see sell off up here, buy in, sell off, and we are at resistance. So I will anticipate maybe even going up a little bit more and then curling back down. The RSI is not at a critical point. And as a matter of fact, what are we looking at? It's hard to see because I've marked out the week, but it looks like we're just kind of turning down and maybe even going sideways. But plenty of room to go to the upside and to the south side. And you can see we're just basically range bound here, just going sideways and down a little bit. But 22.59 I looked at on a Sunday here, 23.56, back down to 22.71. So opportunities to get in and out if you're day trading. And the 1-year price target is $24.55, which represents a 5.81% from where we are. And unfortunately, even though we had a really good Friday, Intel got some bad news. It was added to the Dow Jones Industrial Average 25 years ago, and now it's getting the boot replaced by NVIDIA. And this reflects a shift in focus towards AI technology. Sherwin-Williams is also getting in there, and somebody else is getting booted. I can't remember who, but some changes going on with the Dow. And I'll be watching out for this gap to the downside, so keep that in mind. And obviously, I'm just giving this to you on the 5-minute time frame. You're going to get different buy and sell signals on different time frames that you play. And this is just for day trading here. Now, the next one I want to go over is Boeing. We ended the week at 154.59, up 3.54% first your price targets. Again, I'm looking from Monday to Friday, this period right here, and we are in a downward channel still. So to the north side, here is the upper channel of VWAP, but I'm not playing that. I'm playing the linear. So this is 156.82, 159.12, and another level of resistance, which I do not anticipate we get there in one day, 161.42. All day long within 2 and -2 standard deviations. The calculations can constantly change. You don't have to make the calculations. TradingView will do it for you. Now to the south side, this is going to turn into support the old middle of the trend lines as we go down. But this is what I'm really tracking. This line here, which will be 152.32. This gap to the south side takes us to 149.78, 147.75, 145.44, and 143.13. I do not anticipate we get to this level on Monday, but should we wick down here for some unknown reason as of right now, you can bet people will buy the dip, just like they did here. They ran up this wick here and ran all the way up. Your potential buy signals. And looking left, the previous week, you can see from down here, this turned into resistance, fell down to support, back up past resistance, back down, and then grinding our way up, didn't quite make up to the line, and then fell back down to support, and then back up to resistance. Now, I'm going to mark out the middle of the trend right here. So price could follow this line that TradingView calculates for you, or if we go sideways, I will anticipate we go down to here and then grind sideways. And this is a previous middle of the trend, and we're so close here I don't want to confuse it, so I'll just delete this to get out of my way. But this is what I'm looking at here. Eventually I'll just delete all that too. Like I shouldn't even have drawn these two, but I'll go through and clean that up later. And the gap that I'm tracking to the upside will take us to 173.61. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Going down though, and farther away from this. And I forgot to show you Intel. The target is up here, $29. This has been the target for a very long time. An open wound, but a good one to the upside. That will take us to roughly 29.13, but we are not close. Right now, it just appears more of a sideways move, but we've been going sideways for quite some time now, so I expect some big moves after this, hopefully. All right. That was Boeing I did as well. Sell off here. You can see clear sell off. If you like to play along the lines, these are your clear buy and sell. Well, it's not even here. Sell signals. But again, calculations constantly changing. Oops. Yeah, I've got this target up here. Long ways off, and that will eventually take us back to 198.47. As far as the gaps to the south side, I don't think I'm tracking any other ones. So this one has whipped us around, let me tell you. The next one, Nike. Reset, option R. $78.06 is where we ended, up 1.21% to the north side. Resistance, well, this will act as resistance also on the way up. But again, the line I'm playing is in the red, 78.61, 79.59-ish, and right back where we have been previously, $80.54. We're just, if we happen to go up there, should we be so lucky, this is back to where we've been. Okay, these are just small movements here on the 5-minute time frame. If you want to look at the big picture, you're going to get different buy and sell signals by switching over the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. All right, to the south side, 76.70. A gap forms, closes out at -2 standard deviations, 74.67. If we make it down here, I will anticipate a bounce off of that because that is support. If we continue to fall, the next support line I'm looking at is 73.74. And then another gap closure to the downside at 72.67, wiping out this gap here and then also taking us down to -4 standard deviations. We are not in that channel just yet. If we continue to go south, that could touch at 2 standard deviations at the end of the week. And we could even go as low as $70.94 if we continue this trajectory. All right, so let's look left. The gap to the north side. Oh wait, what is this one? Oh, sorry. The gap I'm tracking will take us. Oh, look, we will be retracing back to the middle of the trend where we have been previously at 78.38. Look at that. And the gap fill right there, 38.39. I'll just move this to 38, close enough, and change that. That's red, that's gonna be green. All right, I'll just delete that one because I don't want it to look too messy, but that is definitely achievable. Even though we're going down, we could go up here and then make our way back down to the middle of the trend where price likes to hang out before making a move to the upside or to the downside. But just think of this as the resting place before buyers or sellers take control. And look at this. And VWAP is in the blue at 77.75. All right, so the middle of the trend is now here. And the previous week we were here. So we are stair-stepping our way down, okay, making lower lows. So from here to here is going to be a drop of 2.20%, somewhere around there. All right. So this is now the target, the middle of the trend, or we could be riding this line. If we go sideways, that'd be great, but if there's more bleeding out to do, it'll go down here, which we might as well bleed out and close out these gaps, these open wounds that we need to close, or price will just hang out here and then we go up and then all of a sudden we'll go back down on some news to close this thing out. So we're close enough. I hope we do it. I know it sucks if you're in it, which I am in for my mom, but I'd rather close it out and be done with it. All right, we've got a gap within a gap. So that's going to take us to roughly 89-ish, 06. And this one will take us to $94.27. Not even close. Not in the channel, not in the zone. We are going down still, moving farther away from this gap. All right, but look, you can still go down and still make money to the upside. Here's your sell signal. And then if we touch this line, this turns into support and you get a little bit of bounce going sideways, but couldn't keep it going. Went down even more to support and then a bounce off support. Resistance up here. All right. That'll be it for this one. The next one, I've got many more to do, so I'm going to speed up here. Rivn. This poor ticker has been all over the place. Okay. We ended the week at 1018, up 0.79%. VWAP is at 1027. Resistance taking us back to the middle of the trend in this case. Look at this line that I marked out. See how we just repeat our process here? And then it's going to be here and then here. But for right here, that's 1037-ish. 1049, close enough to this old middle of the trend, which has now turned into resistance. And then 1060. Middle of the trend here is at 1016. 994, 983, 972. Note from last week, Look at this resistance. What happens at resistance? People take their profits and they run, they lock in and they leave. And that's exactly what they did. Look at this high note here and then made our way down, a run again. And then look at this stair stepping down to support and a bounce off support to resistance, a sell off. And this is now support. Okay, so the gap that we had, which opened up here on Thursday, October 24th, finally touched last week. This wound is done. Landmine delete at 10:18. We touched. We gapped up, which means I anticipate it to fall down. So this was your opportunity to get up, get in, get up, get out, and done. Okay. Oh, let's see. What else? What gap am I tracking to the upside? Okay, these are closed out. That's closed. The gap that I'm tracking to the upside will take us to $17.47. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. What happened here? There were some gaps. Okay, that's done. That gap's done. All right, I think everything's cleaned up so far. That gap is done to the south side, south side. As you can see by these lines, I've tracked this for many, many weeks, just for giggles. Okay. And we are still going down. And then the lower bottom range, if we continue to go down, could be 936 as well. But you have to look at this within this time frame that you're playing. If you're just playing the big picture, you don't worry about it. All right, the next one is Unilever. I'm feeling like I want to get out, but I don't like to sell on a red day. I only sell on a green day, and that is not enough for me to get out. But I am up quite a bit on Unilever for myself and for my mom. Okay, 61.32 is where we ended, up 0.67%. VWAP is at 61.58, 61.83, 62.18, 62.54, 61.10. To the south side, we'll fill this gap at 60.39, 60.03, and 59.68. Now, as far as the gaps, before I get there, let's mark out this middle of the trend. If we go sideways, that's the target, or going down, okay? And that was the middle of the trend the previous week, and this is where we are now. Look at this downward slope. So the gap that is still in play takes us down to 60.67 within the -2 and 2. So I will anticipate this one to close out. And then we have this one also, and that will take us to 60.94. If we're going to get there, we'll probably touch this one too. And then there was this gap opened up at the beginning of the week and touched on Wednesday. So this gap, that's a price point. That gap is done, even though I didn't put a price label on it, but that is 60.67 there. All right, what about the gaps to the north side? So this one opened up last week on Thursday, October 31st, in play. So that's nice to see. 62.68 is the price target. And if we get to that, we have to punch through this 61.97, the middle of the trend, and now it also acts as resistance on the way up. And then 62.94. See, there are so many gaps to the upside that I am getting greedy. I should have already sold out if I was going to do that, because look at this. What was the 52-week high? 65.87. Let's look at that. We're cracking. Doesn't look good. That's the thing. I didn't sell out, but that's okay. It'll turn around again. So The target to the upside is the 64.98 that I am tracking. And then once we hit that, I will take it off the list. Okay, we are in a downward channel still with Unilever. Okay, 61.10. Now let's go to the next one. Neo, oops. What the heck happened here? Unilever. Let's go back to Neo. I double clicked. I got sticky fingers here. Okay, $5.10 is where we ended to the north side. 514, 524, 534. Note the downward channel doesn't look good. 494, 474, 464, and 454. And sometimes if I want in on a stock, but I don't want it that bad, but if it comes to me and the price that I want, I'll just put a buy order in at -4 standard deviations. If I get it, great. If I don't, no big deal. Willing to give it a try, ride it out. All right, VWAP is at 511. The middle of the trend is now here. The previous week was right here. So you can see the downward channel also. And again, last week was from here to here, and look at this. Even though we're going down, you can still make money going down, but not by shorting, but just hitting a price higher than you bought it and then getting out. Get in, get up, get out. Don't get greedy. If you look at this, it just really does show you that if you play within -2 and 2 standard deviations and make these smaller moves and make a lot of smaller moves, you could still win. All right, 526 is where we ended the last week. We're now at 510. Resistance, sell off. Resistance, sell off. Here, this is support. We bounced up a little bit, but grinding along this line and then going sideways. Okay, the gap that I am tracking. Okay, I need to clean this up. This $5.26 actually touched right here. And remember, when I mark these out, I'm just extending. I have no idea when it's going to touch, and then that's why it's important to come back and clean it up. This landmine to the south side is no longer around. It's gone. There are other threats, just not that one. And then this gap opened up on Thursday, October 24th, or 31st, I'm sorry, of 2024. That will take us to 534. Not in the channel, not in the zone. Still going down, moving farther away from this, but once we retrace, this is the target. And 559 is also a target. Okay, and then this is a target. Oh my gosh, Neo is like 624, and then this one roughly 677-ish, but not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. And then we have all of these landmines to the south side to contend with, and we are slowly getting there. This one could touch, if we continue southbound, that could touch on Thursday. What, did I mark the end of the week? No. So let me mark out the end of the week. Friday, Monday, Friday, right there. So I'm looking at this period from here, Monday, to Friday, and we're going down. And these gaps have been open for a very long time. Look at this. It's just retracing. That's all. We're going up like a weird U. Anyway, keep that in mind. Tsly. We ended the week at 1192, down 0.17%. First, your price targets. In the blue, 1197 is VWAP, 1220, 1241, and 1264. And the pink line is my buy line. I am down, and I do have shares down here somewhere too. So I'm all over the place with this one, but I'm not selling out just yet because one day we will reverse. 11, and I'm not afraid. 11.21 is the gap to the south side. Wait, did I give you? Okay. 12.65, and then to the south side, 10.86. I just got distracted. 11.08. Okay, this gap closes out at 11.21. Okay, we have a gap. We gapped down, so I will anticipate when we retrace to fill to the north side at roughly 12.81. Okay, I don't know. I was thinking about selling maybe, and I didn't there. And we've got this gap that will take us to roughly 13.67, and then we have this gap that will take us to roughly 14.13. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Okay, and we could touch this one on Monday if we get down and continue south. But I think, oh, is that the last one? That might be the last one I'm tracking. That's okay. You don't have to draw out the gaps. If we go down, using these lines will help me figure out how far or how low we can go. Okay, and at the end of the week, if we continue to go down, which I don't think we'll just all go down the whole time, but we could end up at 932 as well. Hopefully not, fingers crossed. All right. Get a drink of water. Tesla is up next. Option R to reset so I can see this better. Oh, wait, one thing. Did I mark out the middle of the trend? No. The middle of the trend is now here. Okay. So I'm thinking price will hover around this area. If not, it'll follow this line possibly. And let's take a look. Oh, did I not mark? Oh, look at this. This is the middle of the trend from last week. And we did not go sideways here. We continued. Look at this line here, here, here. So we did not grind sideways. And now we are here. So we were here to down here. And if we touch this line, that would be down 11%, almost 12, 11.65. Nasty. Nasty McNasty. Okay. So that's it for Tsly. Did I do that for Unilever? Yeah, I did mark it. And Rivn? No, I did not mark out Rivn. I just like to do this for giggles. Obviously, it gets messy, and that's why you can delete it, but I like to see where I've been and where I'm going. This is where I was, and this is where I am for this week, the target area. Okay, Tesla. Yeah, I just reset that again. Okay. VWAP 250.05, 253.59, 256.30, 258.91, taking us back to where the middle of the trend used to be. 248.05, middle of the trend, which now turns into support. And then look at this, -2 standard deviations lines up where we were, which was the middle of the trend at 242.74. 239.95 and 237.23. I will mark out my middle of the trend. Okay, we're either going to grind down or hopefully chop sideways. And the middle of the trend for the week prior was here to here. All right, and there's your clear sell signal at resistance, buy in clear signal at support, clear resistance, 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 and then the middle line turns into support as we slide down. The target to the upside, the next one will be 291.06. This touched, that one did not touch. So the landmine that we will be looking out for will take us down to 214.29, but this will definitely touch on Monday. The upper band will touch, and that lines up with the middle of the trend that we had previously that now turns into support. And if we hit this line, that's one level of support at -2 standard deviations, and I will anticipate a bounce off that support. And then if we kind of continue to roll over, we could just eventually touch these lines, but that's a ways out. I'm only looking at from here to here. But beware of this one as well. And that monster down there. And that monster would take us to 159.76. And people and institutions, I'm sure, will load the boat at 159. They can't wait for this thing to tank so they can buy in. And the 1-year price target in Tesla is in the 300s, I think. 400. Okay, 400 the last time I looked at it. Yep. All right. The next one I want to go over is SOFI. All right. Middle of the trend, the median, 1131, resistance, take profit area, potential. 1187, 1214, 1242, 1076, 1050, 1021. And let me clean up this gap. This was from Thursday, October 24th, and we touched this on Monday, the 29th. So that is done. 1042 is where we took it. And then look at that. So we gapped up. This turns into a gap fill to the south side, and it did, and we tanked even more. This is a buy zone, potential buy zone, potential buy zone. We ran up. Okay, and then this gap that opened up on the 29th closed on the 30th. So that's done. We're just playing a range here. Baby steps, small ranges. And then the gap to the north side that I am tracking, where is the next gap? Oh yes, I almost got rid of this. That's right, I remember now. I almost removed this last week, but when I looked at this ticker in the big picture, I was not recording, I did see a gap, a micro gap. I'll take this to the daily so you can see all these white lines. That is how long I have tracked SOFI to fill the gap, this gap closure. Look at this. Woo. Then I tracked it because it caught my eye because there was a gap to fill to the upside because we tanked. Voila. Okay, and why do I have this marked here? Where did it go? Oops. Reset that. Oh, this is the gap right here. Up to $22.85. And that was over here on November 18th. It was a tiny, tiny, tiny gap. And normally I don't track those. I don't really care. But with SOFI, since we've had such a run on it and people are very interested in it, I thought I'll just keep it on here and then stop tracking it if we ever get to that level. Back up to 23-ish. Okay, back to the 5. I don't know why this is here, 1369. So I will investigate that later. Back to the, let's look at this on the 1 hour. I want to see. Why is that marked out? I'm just going to delete it. Must have, oh, I accidentally probably tried to write something and I clicked something and then I never went back and deleted it. I think that's what that is. Okay, back to the 5. I digress. So the 52-week high is 1150. Obviously, you can see if you look back a couple years, then you'll see the other stuff, but just for the 52 weeks. So right now we hit our target there. The forecast is $14. Okay, and $14 would take us right here. I've already marked that out. So from here to here, it's not going to be easy. You're going to get whipped around. This thing will give you a headache. It'll spit you out. But in the big picture, $14 if you can stomach it. All right. Did I already give you the price targets? Yeah, I think I did. 1132 and then all the way up to 1241. Okay, 1185, 1215. I think I did this already. 1075, 1049, and 1021. Okay. Support, bounce, resistance, sell off, down to support, and grinding along this line. And let me mark out my middle of the trend. And that was the last week. We just didn't get very far, but we flushed down and then quickly went back up again. So this isn't a huge spread. Okay, the next gap to the south side will take us to 903, that for a gap closure, and many other gap closures to the south side. Okay. And then I bought in here at 628, 677, 705, 757, 790, $8. I bought some for my mom and for myself. And part of me wants to sell, part of me doesn't. It's like, oh, it's a banking stock. It does make me nervous. All right. That's all I have to say about that one. Okay, this is a nuclear ticker. Nuclear ticker. 1926 is where we ended, down 1.53%. Okay, your targets, the middle of the trend. 1954, VWAP, 2016, the upper channel VWAP lines up with basically 2 standard deviations and resistance. Take profit area at 2082. If you're letting it ride, 2141 and 2198. Don't hold your breath. To the south side, 1830, we'll wipe out that gap. 1770 and 1707, looking left. This gap is still in play, very close. We could definitely close that out on Monday. Flush down, wick it out, and then bounce or roll over. Let me just delete this. Okay. And I track this for a trader named Miriam, and this was a sell area, another sell area, and a buy-in area, a sell area. So this ticker within this week gave you very clear buy and sell signals. Okay, but that's just day trading here. Big picture, that's something else. This gap will take us down to 1559, and I think that's the only gap. Oh no, oh gosh. Oh, and don't forget, you can use these lines as your stop loss in case price continues to fall. What goes up must come down. What goes down doesn't necessarily come up again, but sometimes you have to get down to get back up. But look at all that. And then we have this nice big gap to the upside, but we are moving farther away from this because this on the 5 is going down. And I want to mark out the middle of the trend. So the middle of the trend, I have to remove this. Okay. The good thing is previously the middle of the trend was here and now it's here. So we could be trading within this range or going sideways or slowly going down to close out this gap by the end of the week. Okay? Something like that could happen. That's a scenario. And that's it. Oh, wait, one more. Because I never got rid of SOFI, I was switching out for PayPal, so I did PayPal the previous week, and now I have 11 tickers. I usually only do 10, but this will be the bonus. PayPal's been whipping us around. Okay, 77.25 is where we ended, down 2.59%. We're basically at the middle of the trend and at VWAP. The upper channel, 78.84, 79.58, and 80.32. If we hit these targets, that will, oh, this needs to be changed into green. Let's say that looks weird. So we flush down, so I anticipate a gap to the upside. I knew visually there was something odd about that. And then this is odd too. But note this, again, I just extended out. I have no idea when it's going to touch from the previous week. And it touched right here on Tuesday, the 29th, on earnings. We ran up. I forgot to clean that up. No, I didn't forget it. I just didn't do it because now I'm looking back at it. All right, so that gap is done. That opened up on the 4th. Delete. Okay, we gapped up. Anticipated to fill on the down low right here. Okay, and then what's going on with this gap? I love the green gaps to the upside. That's just like a nice little target. And that target will be 83.45, but we are going in a downward channel. And then what about anything else? Okay. I've traded this a couple times in the past. So I think that is it. Oh, the middle of the trend I need to draw out. Okay, the middle of the trend the previous week was here, and now we're here. We are stair-stepping our way down. You can tell by obviously these lines, the linear regression, and then the lines that I just marked out. That's like double confirmation. Are you feeling it? Do you see what I'm talking about? I know this is weird because nobody trades this way. But that's why you have to trade your own style so that it makes sense for you. But I'm just teaching you some little nuggets here. Hopefully, if you're new to trading, you will develop your own style and make sure you set your stop loss so you don't bleed out. And then if you're also trying to hit little targets, hit a stop limit, because I miss it all the time and things run and then it crashes and I didn't set a sell order and then I get trapped. Happens to me all the time, but that's okay. I'm in this for the long run. Okay, that does it for me. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of, what is this, November 4th? Oh yeah, November 4th through the 8th. If there is a ticker that you would like me to go over, please let me know, and have a great trading week.